Hurricane Lee is headed to the eastern coast of the United States, but it's uncertain exactly where it will hit. Some scientists believe it could make landfall as far north as Massachusetts, but others think it could come ashore in North Carolina or even further south. If the storm does travel further north, it could push along a powerful storm surge, causing heavy flooding and power outages. If the hurricane moves further south, it could combine with the rising sea levels and cause extreme damage from flooding. The storm could make landfall anywhere along the eastern seaboard between the Canadian border and Florida. Forecasters are keeping an eye on the storm as it passes through the Caribbean on its path to the United States. Areas of the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware could also see the effects of Lee as it moves offshore and offshore-influenced precipitation. Storm systems like Lee bring with them wind, heavy rain, tornadoes, and flooding. Islands like Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, and Cuba could be affected by the storm's wind and rain. Forecasters are advising people in these areas to prepare for heavy rains, high winds, and flooding. The storm could also cause significant problems in the central and northern Gulf Coast, with storm surge possibly reaching several feet above the normal high tide. In these areas, people should get ready for flooding, possible high wind damage, and possible tornadoes. People in coastal areas of the southeastern United States should be prepared for possible storm surge flooding, and dangerous surf and rip currents. Those in inland areas should prepare for periods of heavy rain, damaging winds, and flooding. Lee might affect air travel on the East Coast, as well as shipping, cargo, and ferry services. Some people in coastal areas may be required to evacuate depending on the storm's direction. Those in the eastern states from Virginia to Maine should also keep an eye on Lee's development and potential impacts. Some of the storm's overall effect may not be seen until days after the storm makes landfall. Potential impacts from this storm include flooding, wind damage, loss of power, and even hazardous dust storms. People should be prepared for whatever may come and take necessary precautionary measures to stay safe and avoid damage. If the worst happens, emergency kits should be stocked with non-perishable food and water, and a battery-powered radio should be on hand. Insurance policies should be reviewed and emergency contact information should be updated in case of an emergency. People should also be aware of their local evacuation plans, and be prepared to act if needed. Those in the path of Lee should follow the advice of local emergency officials and be prepared for whatever it brings. Residents of coastal areas should also be aware of the storm surge, and existing flood protection measures should be reviewed.